Welcome everybody to this episode of Ron G Coaching. Today I'm going to be discussing my favorite basic self-defense combination. Before I get into it, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the link in the description box below to check out my website, rongcoaching.com. On my website, I've got resources for life coaching, personal training, martial arts, yoga, and more. Let's get started. I want to point out 3 rules for self-defense. I teach these rules to all of my students. The first rule is, get away if you can. That should be self-explanatory. You don't want to engage in a fight. We're not trying to go out there and bully. We're trying to protect ourselves and our loved ones. 2, be prepared. That is part of training. Training prepares the mind and the body to engage in conflict. 3, if you do have to engage, you make sure that the other person cannot hurt you anymore and then get away. In those last 2 clips, I demonstrated how to utilize the basic combination depending on which side you throw your block up first. The techniques that I used in this combination are block, cross, jab, front kick. Before we get into each of those individual techniques, I want to break down fighting stance for you guys. To break down fighting stance, I'm going to start from the ground up. I'm going to work on getting my feet into the right position, then I'll worry about everything else after that. For this, I'm going to be using the line between the 2 mats. You can use a tape line, a chalk line, or an invisible line in order to get your feet in the right position. I'm going to start with my feet roughly hips distance apart. I'm either going to step forward or I'm going to step back. And shift my feet. I want them both pointing at about 1 o'clock, with 12 being this way. It will be the same for the other side. Once my feet are in position, I want to sink into the knees slightly. This allows me to shift my weight from the front to the back and allows for the center of gravity to be right here. Now that I've got my feet in the right position, I can get my upper body set into fighting stance. I like to hollow out my core, but also remembering that I need to be able to loosen it in case I get hit in the stomach, because nobody likes the feeling of getting the wind knocked out of them. Next, I want to make sure that my elbows stay down by my sides to protect these soft targets here. My hands will come up in a combination of rolling my shoulders forward and keeping my elbows down to protect vital areas. I'm going to close my hands into a fist. This front hand will remain in front. I want to be able to see over these front knuckles. I also want this hand to be able to come back and protect this jawline at any given time. I want this hand up, elbows protecting soft target. I also want to be able to look over the side of this knuckle. I don't want it blocking my view. And it's also going to protect this jawline. In fighting stance, I like to feel almost completely balanced between my front foot and my back foot. So I don't want to have heavy front and I don't want to have too heavy back. How I do that is I equally distribute my body weight between my front and my back foot. That allows me to shift my weight when I need to for different techniques. Now that we've got our fighting stance, let's start breaking down each technique. A lot of times in a self-defense scenario where you'll have to defend yourself, the first place that somebody's going to try to hit you is going to be in your head. In the sequence, the first move is block. Depending on which hand you block with will determine which technique gets sent out next. It will either be a cross or a jab. Both are hand striking techniques. Let me demonstrate the cross first. I've got the camera kind of far away so you can see my feet. I'm going to be pivoting my back foot as the cross comes out to bring more power up from the ground through the twist and into my hand. With a jab, I typically am not going to move my feet. I'm just going to send the jab out fast as possible. The jab comes off the front hand. However, if I am fading away, I may pivot the front foot to give me some distance as I'm sending out the jab. Once I've sent out a cross and a jab, or a jab and a cross, depending on which hand you started with, the last technique is the front kick. In the demonstration of the sequence at the beginning of the video, I showed the front kick coming off of the back leg. I know, confusing, isn't it? It's named the front kick because you kick to the front, and the back leg is chosen in this sequence because it carries the most power. In order to execute a front kick, you must bring your back leg, knee, forward into a chambered position. It's important to note that wherever I'm pointing my knee is where my foot will come out. After my knee is in chamber position, I can then extend my foot forward and push and drive with the ball of my foot into the target. You'll also notice that my front foot pivots to open up the hips to allow the back foot to travel forward into chamber. Once we've got those components together, we can extend the foot into the target using what I like to call hip drive. That's where you use the hips to push forward. Let me show you. There may be some instances where you want to kick with the front leg rather than the back leg. It feels a little bit different, but the technique is generally the same. Knee comes up, foot goes out. Alright, so let's put this all together one more time. Block. Cross. Jab. Front kick. Block. Jab. Cross. Front kick. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you found it useful. Please don't forget to click the link in the description box below, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay safe, practice hard, and I've got more coming soon.